5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy, and welcome to another one of our study groups. This is session 2 of British and Irish military records. And in talking with Claire, our course coordinator, for the next few weeks we're going to be concentrating on England and Scotland. The 5th week we'll be doing Irish military records, and on the 6th week we'll recap. And joining us on the panel today is, in fact, our coordinator. We got you in the room this time. Hi, Claire. Claire is a former British Reference Desk librarian at the Family History Library, and she currently teaches at BYU, Idaho. How many students do you have there in that Family History department?
The classes range anywhere from, sometimes we have 3 classes at one time. There's usually 35 kids in each class, and sometimes
Wow.
it's as much as 70 students at a time. That's a big chunk. This is the spring semester, and fortunately I have 35 students, which is okay. But come fall, it'll be 2 classes again.
Got it. And you're teaching virtually from your home in the Midwest. And we've got Cousin Russ from New Jersey. Welcome, Cousin Russ. Thank you for being here and helping us with the technology to get this baby up.
No problem at all.
Running. Just a little bit more information to share with you. Claire spent a lot of time working especially yesterday, updating more things in our Google Sheet, our shared Google Sheets. Cousin Russ will give you that link, and that's what he just posted. You'll notice that there are tabs across the bottom here for the overview with the reminder of 2 really good links that she likes for research outlines. And then in the category of National Archives or online records at generally speaking where things are available, and then some specifics that she's going to continue to build out on with what's available at Ancestry, FamilySearch, Genealogist, .co.uk, and I should say the Genealogist, FindMyPast, something about military artifacts. My gosh, pre-1707, that's a big deal in British military history, isn't it, Claire? 1707 date is what?
That's when they signed Scotland and England sat together on the Act of Union, which Audrey mentioned last week, and she went into quite detail. And because of the class that was held last week, I felt it would be good to put some of the information there in case some people had, wanted to go back past the points that we were going to covering before 1707.
But logically, we do military records research about the same way we do any type of research. We start with the current generations and work backwards. I should mention, folks, if you are at hangouts.dearmyrtle.com, under archives, there's the categories of various hangouts that we host. And under British and Irish, there you see we've already got the link for today's broadcast, and there's the link so that you can view. If you want to comment, you need to click to view and comment. You need to register, even if it's last week's that you want to catch up with and find out more about that 1707 date. This is a research outline that we're working with from FamilySearch and it's titled British Military Records. We also have one for online records. Where is that one? Here it is. Let me pull that up. I forgot to pull it over, guys. Not doing my job. Yes, so there's specific databases mentioned, and I think part of our discussion today, and as the rest of the sessions roll out, part of it is a record survey so that you can become aware of specific record groups. This is the research guides page, summary page at the National Archives, but so you can be aware of what is available I'm particularly accustomed to U.S. pension files for Civil War, Claire. I don't know anything about British military records, so I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Let me turn the time over to you, and we'll go exploring today, I think.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wanted to just take a moment and my time working at the Family History Library, and also before I was working at the Family History Library, I worked for a company that did research for people, and I had the pleasure of meeting a John Kitzmiller. As you know, John Kitzmiller just recently, he's been diagnosed with early Alzheimer's and was on the TV show on BYU where they call it Random Acts, and he did a surprise renewal of his vows while he still has his memory. And he's in England and Scotland. I saw a post from him at Edinburgh Castle, and I wanted to just take a moment to give a personal thanks. John, I wouldn't know what I do know. Yeah, he trained me.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure, as things started to be difficult for him, to team teach with him on many of the British military classes that he had developed over time, and to help him so he could stay focused and present them. And so I have to say, I have to give a little bit of credit where credit's due. And John Kitzmiller, I know he helped tons and tons of people over time.
He's one of the foremost experts in the world of genealogy when it comes to British military records. So hats off to our dear friend John. Okay, so.
All right, so I just wanted to point that out, and so because I felt it was important to give credit to him I wouldn't be here today with my knowing the information I do know without his assistance. And so, okay, so what we'll do is I want to go a review over what we talked. You talked about some of the early stuff last week with Audrey, which was wonderful as well, wonderful introduction. And then I believe someone had sent in one of the documents, which I thought was fabulous.
Thank you to Kathleen Moore for that. But moving along, yes.
We have the different breakdowns where we have the National Archives and then online records. And I'd like to open up with one of the bigger sets of records called the Chelsea pension records. Now, the Chelsea pension records are when the military individuals would have to be going to a hospital. Chelsea was a hospital. And so there are different groups that have put out the Chelsea pension records. And so if you could bring up the spreadsheet,
okay,
that would really...
Yeah, I've got it.
That would be helpful. And if you put that on screen, let's just talk about those for a moment.
All right, just fill us in while I'm logging into FamilySearch. And apparently I haven't been there.
No, you really just have to click the links. I put the links in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the first one is, of course, the National Archives will have some stuff, and I didn't put the link there yet because we have so much available online in this one. But when you actually go to the Ancestry has the I'll copy and post the link for you. Here we go.
Okay.
That makes it easier.
Okay.
Okay, so this here is the UK Royal Hospital pensioner records for soldiers who served in Canada.
Okay.
So this is a little different. This one has Canada rather than England or the Scotland. So this is why I wanted to point out when someone says, oh, I have access to the Chelsea pension records, they need to know which set they have.
Okay, as opposed to the one that we're talking about over at FamilySearch, which is just generally, it's for...
Right, let's click on the Learn More, please, and then that will tell us which ones they have.
All right.
Okay, because this is all part of just making sure that that they have it. And so it's giving you the record description. So this here is what they call the WO97. You see that right there? And
yes.
If you could, that would be really helpful to
you want me to click right here? Okay.
Yep. Okay,
and that means War Office.
Correct. This is what they're actually getting. They're actually going to be looking at the soldiers' service documents. So the description is just a little bit further down. You can actually put a name there if you wanted.
Okay, what name? I love it when you boss me around, Claire.
I'm so sorry, Russ.
Oh, I love it.
We could use cousin Russ's last name and see if there's someone there.
I will do that.
I think because that's a nice English name.
Okay, so first we get the hit list, and we are at the National Archives, TNA.
Right, so we can click on that and see. Let's see what we got.
Okay, this person, and this is available from FindMyPast. So
right,
let's
and
go
so
visit.
we're gonna go to FindMyPast, but we can go ahead, look on FindMyPast.
All right, and what I'm noticing is we were at FamilySearch, so there's a partnership with the National Archives and FamilySearch, and it involves a third party, FindMyPast. So let's see if it pulls it up directly. I got to look for him again here. So it isn't that we're making mistakes. It's just how this partnership has expressed itself in moving us from one place to another. Shall we look at the image?
That would be wonderful. Because I think that's what we want. We want people to see there are records available online.
Okay.
You do have to log in, but the reward is worth it. You'll have a wonderful record to look at.
It's trying to load. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see what happens. So is this okay, good. Now, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit so we can make some sense of it. Too far in. John is at the airport, I think, in Edinburgh, and he's normally on the panel with us. This is an attestation paper. What is that?
Right. This is when they actually join the physical service, and so when people induct into the Army or whatnot here,
like mustering in. Okay, got it.
Enlisting.
Enlisting. Okay, good.
They call it attestation.
What's your name? Do you have a trade? You're a clerk? Were you an apprentice? Are you married? Have you ever served in the Army, Marines, militia? How about the Royal Navy? Okay, Army Service Corps. I don't know the name of that. 15th day of November, 1876 at 11 o'clock a.m. Okay, there's a signature.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, and a witness to the signature. All right, now is there something on the next page, or is this it?
I am not sure on this particular set. Every one of these links that we have for the Chelsea pensioners give us something different. It's really amazing.
Okay, that said related, so I'm clicking on it. Oh, it looks like the back side of the document. Let me zoom in now.
Right, so I think it's going to give a description of him, which is fabulous.
25, 5 feet 5 1/4 inches. By the way, on the first page I used this little plus or minus to zoom in or out, but on this page I just inadvertently used the little, I have a mouse that has one of those rollers on the top, and so by doing that I can zoom in and out. So it's very quick refresh, isn't it? Cool. All right, so fair complexion, hazel eyes. Oh, this is exciting. Intended place of residence. Crossed out Church of England and put Wesleyan. Okay. All right. There's the enlistment. There's that word you read. See, it takes a military guy to understand this. Russ, what have you got from the community?
I think this is from Kathleen from last week when she showed us discharges.
Okay. All right. I don't know if I have any. Oh, there's more related. Let's see. Superintending officer. Okay. Service abroad. Cape Hope.
Move the camera back to you, please.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Thank you. You know how you have to beg around here. Cape Hope. Okay. Let me go to the next document. Wounded said check mark, and I think that means they looked at it, but there weren't any, you know.
And that was still for Albert.
Yep. Now we'll find out. Ooh, this is getting exciting. Now, obviously, this is a very fragile record set.
Right. You may have to blow that up a bit more there so people can see.
Looks like pay or money.
Yeah, that was when he was paid and stuff. Yep. See, so he was when he was actually paid for his time and how much they paid him.
Yep.
Well, this is so many days, so many years, 3 years, 149 days.
Good conduct pay. Yeah. Wow. So here in the U.S. we have enlistment papers, but the pay things are in the Department of Treasury records, a completely different record group. So the way this is filed in Great Britain or in England is different. Okay, 14th of April. He was a private through most of his career.
That shows his
rank.
That shows his ranks, and whether he got any higher or whatever.
Yes. First period of limited engagement was the 15th of November, 1888. Discharge termination. Okay, there's still a related image, so let's go see what that is. Wow, this is fantastic. Kathleen, type a little bit in something new you may have learned about your ancestor from these papers. Okay. Proceedings of discharge. Let's see if he got an honorable oh, he was in South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
For 10 of 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. He has conducted himself good conduct badge, etc. Yeah. Wow, that would be so wonderful to receive this kind of a paper. And it's here online, we just clicked. Oh my gosh, there's his signature, which is completely different from the handwriting of the person filling out the form. Commanding officer, we're getting there's another related image. And let's see what Kathleen is saying, Russ. When you can bring that in, I'll zoom in on that. Let me change the camera and then we'll go look some more.
Kathleen says, it says that William Parkins served for 11 years and is of fair character.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so now we're going to look at his medical history. Oh my gosh, this is all in one form.
Right, and think of how important this is. Suppose there was maybe it was a grandfather, a great-grandfather, and they said that, he was easygoing and whatnot, yet he was in the military, or maybe that he had some physical or mental problems or whatever. You're going to find out here what happened.
Mm-hmm. This tells a specific birthplace in Kent.
Yep.
And that he was formerly a clerk.
It also gave the parish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Deal.
So that's really important when you're trying to find the original records and the parents.
Right, because we would be hoping that, well, that's his birthplace parish, so that would be where he would be christened, and yes, it would list his parents. And yes, we could look for other children being christened with those same parents, and they get a family unit. Russ?
That mark on that very first page that says it was not Church of England, so you would even know which church records not to look in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think on the first page, didn't it say he switched, like he changed?
Yeah, to Wesleyan, which is a nonconformist group.
Right.
So basically, I wonder if he was born as Church of England, and that's where you'd find in the parish records his christening. And then if you were ever looking for his marriage, you'd want to look in the Wesleyan records.
That is true.
He has vaccination marks. He's had 3 on his left arm. He was vaccinated as an infant. No marks on his body. Revaccinated. Everything is perfect. Don't we love that? Okay. Wow, I'm so glad this is digitized, because look at this paper just crumbling. Wow. Okay. So there's his core, which I can't read that writing, but I'm sure if I...
Ashford or something?
Yeah.
I think it's ASFORDS, Ashford's, or something close to that anyway.
Okay, a regimental number and the date. So general habits and conduct, regular, good, temperate. Oh, boy, they really get specific. That looks like they fold it, and that would have been a transmittal form. Let's see if there's anything else related. Oh my gosh, there's more.
Well, remember what Audrey said, that the reason that they put that description in is so that if they have to look for him, for whatever the reason, they know what they're looking for.
Yes, because of these marks and different things. Okay,
Right. So
so
that
now we have the name on the side, and what are the column headings? Where stationed, date of
yep.
arrival, date of attack, admission to hospital, and discharge for something metacarpal. Isn't that in your hand? Fracture
I would
of
put
metacarpal
metacarpal.
bone,
Yes, so that would have been he must have had a fracture in his hand.
I guess. And that's syphilis. I
And
recognize
something
that.
else.
Yeah.
Yep, and something also chronic. Bronchius or
Pleurisy? I
pleurisy.
don't know.
So he
Could
was
be.
talking about chronic pleurisy. Yep.
All right. I recognize it's syphilis because I have two of my Civil War ancestors that had that. All right. And then the signature of the surgeon. Okay. And there's no more arrow to the right. So,
But look at how they treated it. They gave him a splint for his hand.
yeah,
They gave him zinc powder
for the syphilis.
for the syphilis and replaced the constitutional,
Relapse. Yeah,
yeah,
something.
something like that. So, wow, amazing. This record's amazing.
I'm totally excited about this. Now, this we got there from
So we can go back.
FamilySearch.
We can go. Yeah, let me go back and I'll put that link again. You can start again. This time we can put something put one of your last names. This doesn't matter. What's interesting is the way we got there. Okay.
So we were in our record set here.
Right.
I
just sent the link, but that's okay. You click on
right.
FamilySearch.
Okay.
And that very first link on FamilySearch is the W097s.
Okay, so I'm clicking on that. Thank you for making that available.
Not a problem. Now this is where you're going to learn more. But if you were to stop right here and put Worthington in,
yes,
you wouldn't get all that information from the church's website. But you're welcome. Let's try it. See what you get.
Okay.
So people can see the difference.
Welcome, Audrey.
Hi. We just did a deep dive into a Chelsea record that we got from FamilySearch to TNA to FindMyPast, and we found out all sorts of things about a gentleman and his temperament. Now we're going to do it again. And what we end up with is, let's just pick
one.
All right. We'll look at the image this way. And this is I want to see their
what they've put
citation. Up. Yep. Wow. So explain to me again. Chelsea was a major hospital.
Yes, it was.
Okay. So here we have James Worthington. Oh, it's a completely different form. There's the citation for it. Let's scroll down there. Okay. Okay, Q. All right, so let's go look at the image. I can't make that bigger the same. Oh, yes, I can. I'm using my roller bar. Let's make this go away so we can see more of it. So this form has James Worthington, trooper. Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to find all different things.
But this is a different time period. This is 1842, and wasn't the other one in the 1870s, I believe?
Yep. So you're going to have different forms, and so what's really nice is some of them are going to be War Office records, but they'll have the military records. Those are War Office records 96, whereas the pension records are War Office 97. So there's slightly different numbers to the record sets, as Audrey would be able to explain even more than I, since she works with them every day. I don't work with them every day.
Hi, Audrey. This is our friend Audrey Collins from the National Archives. Glad the traffic wasn't too bad getting home from work.
Yes.
Okay, let's get back and look at this. This fellow had a disability order.
Right.
So let's go through this and go to the next page. See if we can get this. That was one page.
Yep.
This looks familiar because this is the service record with rank and promotions, period of service. And so it was from 1842 to 1849. So it's similar to what we saw in the later record. It'd be amazing if we actually found an ancestor of yours, Cousin Russ. Here's the medical report. This I look for in a pension file in the United States, say for the Civil War. Initially, they gave pensions to soldiers who had combat-related injuries, or
Yep.
they gave pensions to soldiers' families if he was killed in the line of duty. But then later in the U.S., as they got older, they realized that these pensioners, that the pension should be extended. Now, at this point, pension, what about that in these records? Are we seeing pensioners are only, they only become eligible for a pension because of a disability? Maybe I could ask you, Audrey.
Yeah, that would be Audrey could answer that one.
Yes.
Yes, it would be because of a disability, in which case you'll get a description of what happened to him. I've got a lovely one from an ancestor of mine who was invalided out in 1812. He was in Europe. He wasn't over there fighting you lot. And he result of a gunshot wound to the jaw. So I've got a nice lot of detail there. But they could you could also get a pension for length of service.
Okay.
If you manage to survive that long and come out alive, if not completely intact, you might get a pension for that. But although these are theoretically meant to be pension records, the later you get, the more likely you are to find records for men who plainly did not get a pension, but they're the same kind of records. So although they're called Chelsea pensioner records, it's worth looking in there for people that didn't get pensions.
Oh, significant. This fellow had tuberculosis of the lungs, contracted in the service, and I can recognize that, for instance, Mr. Mert has a military pension, but that's for his length of service, not because he had a combat-related injury. Okay, so let's look at this and see if there's another document.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
question for you, Audrey. Is there a different? Are the records different if you are an officer or not an officer?
Well, yes, they're completely different. Officers didn't have pensions as such. You'd find that when, for example, at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, when the army was being reduced because they just didn't need the numbers, the men would just be paid off and just sort of left. And well, if they were lucky, they'd get paid. The officers would go on what was called a half pay list, which was like a retainer. So it wasn't really a pension as such, but it was just like a retainer. But officers didn't really earn their living that much in the army. The higher up in the army you were, the more you needed to have some independent source of income.
Okay, got it.
And perhaps, Audrey, I know that over at the Family History Library, we have a number of those half-pay lists and some of them, they're handwritten and they're just really, you can actually pick them up and take a look at them. I don't know if they're available online, but if that would be something that maybe you could actually have to show us maybe next week.
Okay.
Well, I don't think they're online. What is online though is the army list.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go that. We'll do that next, but
okay. So on the wish list, if we could have, I'll ask you this and send it to you, Audrey. If we could have an example of an entry on the half-pay list.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me move the camera back here. We can still see. This is the same Mr. Worthington. He's discharged at Hyde Park Barracks. It's still saying his age. How young did they go into the military if he's getting discharged at 26 and 5/12 years? When were they eligible?
Well, very, very young.
Yeah.
You do get boys as young as 10 or 12 going in as drummer boys.
Oh, okay.
You weren't eligible. Your service didn't count towards a pension until you were 18. and you got paid a bit more. But you getting 17, 18-year-olds wasn't unusual.
All right, let me see if I can get this rotated over. I think I have to do it a few more times. Go all the way around the.
It's a good thing that we have that tool, though.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have the attestation. This is James Worthington. Now again, we're getting the parish,
which is fabulous. That's fabulous for us genealogists. That's what we're looking for to try to find. Yep.
And this one looks. This is very. This looks later. Oh, it's still the 1842 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's his regiment. And does not have any other bounty. Never served in any other unit. Oh wow, this is probably going to keep going on. Let's see.
Yeah, some of them are quite lengthy, depending on how long they were in. Mm-hmm. But this is what you're going to. I mean, it's enough information to help any genealogist. That's for sure.
Okay, so surgeon certificate. So this is kind of out of order because we had the discharge. Now we've got the enlistment paper, but I'm not concerned about it. So, and this is like the other document. So I think we're ready to go on to the next topic. There's their record of service, the rank, and all that. Very cool stuff. I love it.
Right. Now, I'm just going to send this quick link. Okay. This is back on FindMyPast, and this is important to know what's included in there. There's like 6 different record sets. So if you can click on that, not that one, you learn more right there.
Okay.
Okay, now right there, that's what you want. Those are very important because those are the record sets that are included because of the kind of the working out with the archives and FindMyPast. That's what they're providing the individual. So when you were clicking on next and next and next, these are all the different record sets that you were getting as part of that.
Oh, okay. So they combined them, and I was saying, gee whiz, here things are separate. The service record is different from the Treasury Department of Pay, etc. And what they're saying is these have been combined. I need to add something here. I attended a typed chat with FindMyPast representatives, and they told us that when you have your tree up on FindMyPast, the little hints that come up cover 80% of their records, but this is what they are. It does not include military. It's birth, marriage and death records and census records. Does not do newspapers, does not do military. And I found that significant. What have you got, Cousin Russ, from the community?
We got something from John Laws. Admiral John Laws retired from the Navy on half pay, and then he has a description of his military career.
Wow.
That's in comments, and then he says that was John Mulligan Laws, retired as Admiral, half pay, died 1859.
Wow.
And Kathleen says, I only found my guy on the WO-121, so now I know there might be more to find.
Okay, keep this up. Remember, WO stands for War Office, and 121 is, let's flip back over here.
Those are pensions, but WO 97 and 96 and some of the others, they can include all sorts of other records. But WO 121, those are pensions.
That's like the main. Yeah, you just rattle that off like you're used to saying it. So.
Okay, now if you can sort of look to the right of your screen there.
Yes.
Notice the 3 record sets that are going to take us to. We have British Army pensioners for Ireland this time. This is the same situation, but this is for your Ireland people. And we could bring some of that in if you wanted,
right,
but then let's bring one of the Ireland in. We can interweave them in. It's not a problem.
A good Irish name.
Murphy. Let's see. Murphy. That's a good one. Yeah, Murphy.
Okay, that's the last name. And I am at the National Archives website when I am telling it to give us a hit list. So there's an Abraham Murphy. There is both a transcription. I love it when there's a transcription because I can copy and paste that into notes when I attach the image to the event.
Oh, yeah. Transcriptions are usually pretty good.
All right, so it'll take a second.
Yep, now, and I don't know how many sets of what we'll get, but it'll be interesting to see the difference between the ones that are for the soldiers in England as well as this is for Ireland now.
All right,
this is a different hospital now.
Yes, and it took me from the National Archives to FindMyPast. Notice I can attach this to someone in my tree. Yep. So another, remember when they first had it, they had trees, but you couldn't attach things to your tree from here. You had to put it on your hard drive, and it was a big pain. So they're moving along with technology. Let's zoom in. Whoa, sorry.
So here we have, go ahead.
5th Battalion, I think this is the guy's name here. Can't quite read it. He's going to be in Captain Bennett's company. Now, I will say this, in the U.S., where they have things like Captain Bennett's company, in the colonial time period, that was more the norm, where whoever your captain was, that was the name of your company. But then by the time you get to subsequent wars, like the Civil War, it's Company D of 31st Iowa or whatever. So they no longer use the captain's name as the name of the service unit. So what have we got? In what corps? The 27th or the 5th Regiment?
So it looks like he was in 2 different ones.
Oh, 1807 to 1812, then 1812 to 1814. Sounds like he was over here, maybe.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Town, you know.
Yeah, I hear ya. Okay, so this is a summary, and the seal was set on the 31st day of August, 1814. And let's view the transcription just to see what it looks like.
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Because when they put one in, that's really helpful.
Yeah. I tend to, there, it takes it a minute. So I tend to just copy all of this and put it in notes, and then while it's on notes on one screen, I'll zoom in on the document to see was it transcribed accurately, and it is quite, most of the time. I'm going to get all the way down here, and oh, look at this option, report an error on this transcription. Very cool. Oh,
right.
Learn more about the records.
Right, so you can learn about the records. These are another set of the War Office records, and it tells you that over 50% of the records are Irish men, and how many people, 20,000 men serving, and that's a lot from that time period, 1783. Now, that's a valuable time period because if you glance at the top, it gives you the exact place where this person was born. So now this, for the genealogist, is tremendous information. Because lots of times with Ireland, and you only know they came from a county or they don't have the parish. But this actually provided both.
That is extremely valuable. Okay, let's see if this is.
If you've got the common problem, you don't know where they're from. You just know Ireland. Try and find out if they're not in the military. See if they've got a brother who was, because that's.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Okay, so let's zoom in a little more to see what this says. Private Abraham Murphy does acknowledge that he's received his... Oh, sorry. We're trying to see the reflection in Audrey's glasses. Okay, clothing pay, arrears of pay, and all just demands, 31st... Oh, I think this is at his discharge because it's in 1814.
Right.
Okay.
So it says discharge within mention, gives his name,
and
the surgeon and the commanding officer.
Yeah, so it looks like he would have to have signed this here, And there's the witness. Okay, and there's no more documents related because there's nothing to click here.
So a much smaller amount of information for this particular individual.
But how fascinating for this pre-1837 time period.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I notice on my screen I have the ability to print or I have the ability to download. Let me click download just to see what form it's going to take. So it's going to be a JPEG. That's easy to deal with. I click save and would be putting it in the folder where for that Murphy surname. I tend to keep things by surname. Oh, but that's just me. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, I love this.
Okay, so go back to the results. Go back to where we were. Oh, all right. Okay, I think you can click on. Oh, we're gonna get to. It's gonna take us a while to get there, but that's okay. We got a few minutes here.
I'm sorry. I should have paid better attention. Let's see.
Okay, click on click on learn more. I think that will take us there.
All right, I am at family.
Okay, let me go back and let me send you the link again. Hold on.
Oh, I can get it. I see it right here. Sorry. Old Mert here has her days. Okay, here we are.
Okay, so now scroll down to see where you see there's 2 more record sets in this collection area. And there's the Army officer promotions. And
yes.
And we wanted to take a look at those before we run out of time.
Okay. Okay, let's see if there were any Murphys that were officers.
Well, this would be officers, yeah.
But I'm just hoping. Okay.
And notice the time period, 1800 to 1815, valuable time period.
Yeah. Okay. So there's an ensign from the 3rd Foot. That means infantry.
Mm-hmm.
There's just transcriptions of these.
Just transcriptions, yep.
But let's go look at it, okay? This is the one for Bernard Murphy. Okay.
Right.
So he's serving in West India.
Yep.
And this is the information. I just take it like this, copy and paste this. And as part of my citation, I would cite that I found this index entry at FindMyPast. Okay.
Right. Now, Audrey, can we get the original copy for that from the National Archives?
Not exactly, because that's a record set that's not taken direct from the original records. It's taken from a compiled index. And there are some very, very useful ones. Yeah, I think the name of the compiler is down at the bottom. There are some very, very useful ones of those. And
is this Chris Daniel?
So if there's any more information, that might tell you where he got his information from. But what's very useful with these things is that sometimes they can alert you to something that you can then check up in an official source. I don't know if it tells you any more about the details there. I'm not particularly familiar with that one. I know we've got some. Oh, by the way, where it says First West India Regiment, that wouldn't be West India. That would mean West Indies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's a completely different part of the world.
Definitely a different part of the world.
Definitely.
Okay.
So now if you go back to and check on a second one to see if they might have a different transcriber or a different person that did that, and then we can go to the last record set, which was the Army service record, and I think we'll get close to the end. It's already almost 1:45.
Okay, West India is not India. It's the West Indies in the Caribbean.
Correct.
Okay. So I'll just go down here and pick a different one after I pick everybody.
Yeah, so this one here is Renfrewshire, which is Scotland.
Local militia.
Yep.
Okay. That he was an ensign. His status
he was a gentleman.
He didn't pay somebody to do his service. Okay. So Chris Daniel apparently has compiled this data set.
Yeah,
right. Sounds like
useful indexes. There's one compiled by someone that I do know slightly called Roger Nixon, and he's done like an army census. He's gone through muster books for, I think it was 1861, and he's pretty much indexed the whole army.
Wow,
that's wonderful.
do. Because for that period, if there's no service record, what you do is you trace somebody backwards and forwards through the musters, but you need to know where they were at some particular point in time. So there's a couple of indexes like that, and for the period that's maybe less interesting for most of your American users, but for the Second Boer War, which is 1899 to 1902, there's a lot of compiled index material there, which does often refer back to specific National Archives records or records held elsewhere. So while oh yes, I only want original records, but very often these secondary sources are very, very good ways of getting into them.
All right, let's move the camera over so we can get to that third category.
Yep, that's the British Army Service Records.
Very important time period here, 1914 to 1920. So this is the record group WO 363, World War I.
Right, and you could probably put in Russ's Worthington, or maybe your husband's, see if there's any for English back then.
He doesn't have English. His is all, it's amazing. He's got so much Swedish and Norwegian. And when he actually went there to visit, he found out that at one small town, his ancestor had the distinction of being the town drunk. All right, so we should look for Worthington. And I don't know where to press enter. I'll just press enter on my keyboard. I don't see any. These are optional fields. Searching.
Oh, right there, search.
There it is. Yeah. Didn't respond to my pressing.
There we go.
No Worthingtons. So what's
all right? Let's
Irish
put
name?
In put in Wake. Oh, an Irish. This is not Irish.
A bit earlier today, we're getting no results at all. So it may just be a temporary thing.
Oh, it could be the record sets down.
Yeah, because I had some problems earlier this afternoon. Then it was fixed.
Oh, okay. So there we go. She's got one under Collins. I got the image and the transcription.
The Royal Welsh Fusiliers.
Fusiliers.
Okay, and what did? Well, we're getting all these different places, aren't we? As far as people serving. Ooh, let me rotate.
That's a fragment. Now this is
that's a
that will FindMyPast have picked up a lot of these. These are the same records which were first digitized and indexed on Ancestry. And it's always good when somebody else has a go at the same set of records.
Because the index could be different.
Yeah. And also what FindMyPast did when they went through it was occasionally in the middle of the records, you'll get one of these fragments which has got a list like this of sick and wounded.
Oh.
Stuck in the middle of somebody for no particular reason. And we can't even look at the originals because we've only ever had those on microfilm because they were very badly damaged.
Wow.
These random things like this, FindMyPast, they picked those up and indexed them. So that might, there'll be lots of people on here that you wouldn't necessarily be looking for. You might find a proper record for a lot of these people somewhere else, but because 2/3 of them were destroyed by fire, for somebody only mention that you get. So that's quite an unusual one. Well done, that. But
that was really good, Pat. You did a great job on that.
It's a good
but
one.
Notice at the top it says.
Okay, I'll go back.
Some were going into the Chelsea Hospital, and others were going into the Stratford Nursery. It gives you the different infirmary, different places where they actually went. Staffordshire Infirmary and all the different.
So our Private Collins, 1st Welsh Guard, sprained left ankle, and he was sent to North Staffordshire Infirmary and
Hotz Hill.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if there would be records available at that location.
The records of the hospital, there was only a 2% sample we kept. So they're usually it's just a sorry whistle for that one. But it does tell you what's wrong with them. What you'll quite often see is it says sick and wounded, and sometimes it will say GSW, which is gunshot wound. We get quite a lot of that.
Yeah. Bomb.
Oh, there. So the GSW right leg, and bomb.
Gunshot wound. Yeah.
Right, something bomb,
slight.
bomb WD back, dang, that's really, that sounds terribly, terrible records.
Yeah.
CV for severe.
Yeah, they're trying really hard in this typed index to keep track of who's where and what their indications were.
So it's great when you do.
Okay, and these are different lists that have been. Okay, wonderful. This is incredible. You know, regular people that aren't genealogists would take a look at a document like this in a folder or whatever. I guess now it's only on film, and say, oh, forget it. Well, we look for every little scrap of information we can find on an ancestor. That's pretty spectacular to find something like this. I can relate this to morning reports. Every morning, people in the service, and let's talk U.S. Civil War because I'm trying to compare and contrast what we've got versus what you've got. There would be, you know, everybody would have to stand at attention, go through roll call, and if people weren't there, they were AWOL, or they were sent to sick bay, or there was, and the notation was made in the morning reports, and if they'd passed away, if they were sent to hospital, and there were several levels of hospitals. So this is, we're seeing the same sort of record keeping.
So don't forget the ones that they weren't there because they were in the slammer for 3 days for drunken disorder.
Yeah, we probably had a bit of that too. Yeah, I hear ya. Okay, so you're seeing, folks, how valuable these links are that Claire has provided to us. What do you want us to do next for the last few minutes of today's Hangout?
I just gave Cousin Russ, people might be wondering what a Fuselier was, and Wikipedia gives a real good job on that. I gave him a link. He can share that with the community. That would be great. Because it's like all these strange terms that people are getting. They may not be familiar with some of them, and so that might help if he has that.
I certainly hope they weren't using flintlock muskets in the. Let me share the screen. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I thought that the Wikipedia did such a good job. It's worth bringing it up.
Yeah, that was the origin of it, 17th century French. But it sounds like, okay, there we go.
The British Army's own website's quite good at just some of the basics about the regiments and their histories and who they combined with as well.
Okay. All right, let me go look that up.
Let's check that out and see if they have that. Would they just use that under in the Discover and type that term in?
You might find that where we've got things listed by regiment, you'll find it. But I must have a look at the armies at the. I forget what it's called now, whether it's just britisharmy.gov or something. But
how about .mod.uk?
There's something in there. They've got some of the history somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of important to understand. There might be under equipment, might be under, just what they did. They need to understand what they actually did in the service.
Yes. Okay.
Just trying to remember what the ranks were and where they were in the scheme of things, and how the way you'll laugh that I always remember that. A major is senior to a captain. I know they're not directly comparable between Britain and America, but I think MASH, Major Houlihan was superior to Captains Pierce and Honeycutt. So I remember that. So they're not exactly the same, but that's the sort of thing that you need to know. And on the whole, people don't always, because we get so used to using them all the time that we know that the entry level rank. Officer level is probably an ensign in the army, and then you might be a second lieutenant, and we pronounce it lieutenant. I have no idea why, we just do, and so on and so on. And then
you guys are kind of out in left field.
Okay, I just shared a closing link. This is a sample of a chest. This is under that military artifacts that would be worth bringing up.
Okay.
There it is. There it is, right there. Bring up that chest. This is what they, the traveling chest that the soldiers would get, and it has the person's name. This one is Thomas Leonard, and it has his place where he was, stationed, and the type. That's what they
His
actually
regiment, yeah.
regiment, and in there were all of his precious belongings when they were out and about.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So this is their traveling chest. So it's sort of like their footlocker. Yeah,
Right.
that's what it is.
Right. Right.
Cousin Russ, I'm trying to compare and contrast to military experiences in the U.S. You were in the Coast Guard. Did you have a footlocker or a duffel bag of sorts?
Duffel
Similar?
bag.
Duffel
Duffel
bag.
bag.
Probably because it was more bendable and could fit in tight places on board.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Sounds like
there's a sort of famous, well, I think it dates from World War One song, "Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag."
Yep.
yeah.
Ah.
As far as I know, that's what people generally had in the Army and the Navy.
I can remember looking at a pay list, a page for one of Mr. Mertz's ancestors in the U.S. Civil War, and he had to pay for new pants, he had to pay for a new knapsack, he had to pay for a new canteen, water canteen, and you know, I find it interesting that you're in battle and your pants are worn out from battle, but you're still having to pay $1.50 for a new pair of pants.
And you still had to pay to get them washed.
Oh, that's true.
And they would make them pay for replacements because there was quite a nice black market going in selling off army equipment. So you know, some soldiers weren't above selling off some piece of kit and converting it into alcohol.
Oh,
You had to have an incentive. You had to have you couldn't just have you know, free reign on that. Otherwise, there'd be nothing left. You'd have a naked drunk army. So.
I hear you. Do you have anything more from the community? I can't remember, Cousin Russ. Are we good?
Just two comments from John.
Okay.
Says, I'm not sure what he's trying to say.
Trying to explain that word clang. Dang.
I don't know. I didn't a kit bag like a sausage. I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, John.
Okay, he's doing really well considering he's at the airport and he's wanting to contribute. Okay, so this concludes our short hour. Again, thank you to Audrey Collins. Claire, it was nice of you to drop in to teach us today.
I didn't get whisked away like Dorothy did this time.
Oh, golly. Well, let's hope the weather holds and that things calm down. We're going to meet again next Tuesday, British and Irish military records. You know, we talked briefly today about the fact that there was a transcript or there was an index created by somebody. That's and we're going to be talking about that type of thing. Is this the actual original document or is it a derivative? Is it an index? Is it an abstract? We're going to be talking about that tomorrow during our Elizabeth Schoen Mills study group session in the morning. But otherwise, nothing left to say, but thank you to everybody who's been here today. Thank you to Audrey and Claire and Cousin Russ for bringing in the comments. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.